Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I thought I filmed this video and then turns out my mic wasn't on, so I have to refilm this knit and chat. Thankfully, I caught it in like the first 5 minutes, but we're starting this again. I've got my coffee that I'm sipping in my Knit Happens yarn mug, which I think is so cute. And I have my knitting. I'm making the Ceri Bandana. You can find it on my Ravelry linked below. You can buy it for $4.99, or if you buy a set of 3, you get 1 off. So it's like buy 3 free 1, I think. But anyway, I'm using the Stellar Fiberworks that I got to make my Margaret tee. So this is the stash yarn. And I'm making this because I am going to a very nice spring summer-ish climate in like a week. I'm not going to tell you where yet, but if you want to know, or if you think you know, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'm very excited to be going and relaxing. And I haven't done an enchant in a while. I haven't sat down and knitted and talked to you in what feels like forever. And I need to get some things off my chest, to be honest. So many things off my chest. I have notes on my laptop here, and then I have the pattern on my iPad in the other. But this is probably going to be very off the cuff, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, because it feels very wild this week. Some things involving me. It sounds so weird to say that, but yeah, some involving me, other things involving the country and the current climate that we're in right now, generally, globally, around the world. I don't know if you've heard, but Trump's back in office, and I'm not going to even touch that, to be honest. I have a headache thinking about it every single time, and I'm not even American. I'm not from there. I don't live there. But whenever I see my friends who are in the US talk about it, I feel for them, honestly. And to everyone who is dealing with it right now, just know that I am here to support you. I want to share something a bit personal today, and if you're not interested in anything personal, don't worry. We're gonna have normal knitting chats in a few more weeks, if not less. But I wanted to sit here and just take the time to talk honestly about the things that have been going on recently. Not just with me, but, well, I guess with me because I'm the only person that I know very, very well. I don't want to tell you guys about what my best friends are doing or what my husband's doing. We're here for knitting. But I also want to touch on how knitting helps me through these moments. So, content warning for this stuff. I don't know if YouTube is going to demonetize or censor this video if I talk about it. If it does, that sucks. So I'll try to keep this as PG as possible, but if you are affected by these talking points, feel free to not watch this video. There will be more. I just needed to get some things off my chest. So many things off my chest. Now, I have been thinking about doing a knit and chat for a while now. I have been missing knitting because I don't think I've been knitting as much as I have been the past few months, whether that's because my work picked up here in Brunei and I had to prioritize my work. I wasn't really prioritizing my time off either. Knitting has always been the way for me to prioritize my time, making sure I get enough rest and taking life easy. But it seems like the past few months have been so jumbled up. January, we were sorting out the studio space. I'm not in there today, but yeah, we were sorting that out. February, we were also moving. March was Ramadan, and I was also doing the MSME festival. And then April was Raya. Now it's May, and it feels like life has just gone so quickly. And the past week since filming this video, it feels like it's been wild. Let me give you some context. I was working last week in the DJ booth because I'm a part-time radio DJ. I was in the booth, I think 8 p.m. till 10:30 or something like that. And it was a very simple thing. I tend to be in the DJ booth pretty often. I work as a DJ, so obviously I'm in the studio pretty often. But this particular evening, I was just doing my shift with my co-host, and then I get a message from this girl on Instagram who I didn't know. She didn't follow me, I didn't follow her. But she messaged me to inform me that there was a website going around, a Tumblr, and it was full of local women, and their images were taken, including mine, to create deep fake AI corn. It feels weird to censor myself, but yeah. I did not check it immediately. I sent the screenshot to my husband, asked him to verify it while I was finishing up at work. He confirmed it was true and that he saw me in it. And then I got so mad. Not just for me, but because a lot of the girls who were in that site were regular women. They were private citizens. They didn't have a platform. There were people just living their lives. I fell asleep very mad. I'm going to be honest. The next day, I went to the police and I made a statement. A few of my friends reached out, hoped I was okay, and I felt okay. By that point, I remember lying down in bed for lunch. I couldn't bring myself to get up, but I knew that I couldn't be on my phone because I was getting people messaging me and asking me things that I honestly did not have an answer to, nor did I want to answer them. And then there were a lot more instances happening in Brunei, which were about women being harmed by men. I won't go into deeply about that because it's not my place to tell that story. But suffice to say, it was a harrowing week to be a woman, to be a girl, and I felt so gross. There was nothing else for me to say, but it was just gross. Because I took the time to really think about and evaluate, I was thinking a lot about what brought me joy. And one of the things that kept me not spiraling into another deep depression, as I tend to do, one was going back into my studio and just doing work there, being on my laptop instead of my phone, because TikTok and Instagram can be very, very addictive. And knowing me, I have to moderate how much I'm on those apps. Like, at least when I'm on my laptop, I'm listening to a podcast or I'm watching a YouTube video that I enjoy and I can do some work at the same time. And so that's what I did for the past week. I've been holed up in my studio doing work, and I also started going back to the gym. The thing about working as a freelancer is that you don't really have a consistent schedule, and that meant that I wasn't prioritizing myself or my physical or mental health. So this moment, this issue, I'm trying to be nice here, made me think about how I can really take a step back from the digital space. I was watching a YouTube video recently of how back in the day, the internet was somewhere that you would go off on, your laptop or your family's computer, and you'd have limited internet. But now it seems like the internet is something that is constantly around you. And I'm trying my best to maintain a healthy relationship with the internet, which I'm trying very hard to, but sometimes it can be hard to do in moderation. And that's why sometimes I go on to knitting YouTube, which I really love. I consider myself just a hidden watcher, because I always watch so many knitting videos and I subscribe to so many, but I don't reply or comment to their videos even though I really enjoy them. I don't know why. I really need to start like being part of the community again. I haven't even been part of Instagram, but I'll touch on that in another bit. What I'm trying to get at here in this part is that the world can be a very scary place to be a woman, to have thoughts and opinions, to be honest. And knitting has always felt like a safe space to me, at least when it came to the things, the people that I watch, the things that I knit, because instead of feeling envious, I feel inspired, and I get inspired to see what people are making and creating. And I love listening to podcasts as well, even though I haven't made one in a while. But I think last month or something, I was really nervous about posting more YouTube videos because a part of me was really scared, which I know feels off to me as someone who's fine being on camera. A lot of my job is being on camera. If not my face, then my voice is usually recorded. But for some reason, I've almost feel like I've been avoiding YouTube and like the knitting community because I don't know where it's going, almost. It's kind of like a half full, half empty situation, and it's about what you can see and what you read and how it impacts you. Do you think of it positively or do you think of it negatively? I don't know. But I have been thinking about this a lot because there are people who perhaps do not like knitting podcasts. And so I start thinking, oh, then I guess I shouldn't make a knitting podcast anymore. I've seen comments where people are like, oh, I don't like it when people do really complex or cheap looking items. And then I'm like, well, what does that mean? And then I feel very strange on a personal level because I know these comments are not about me, and yet it affects me. But why is that? Why do I feel like these comments that people are putting on other people's YouTube channels affecting me so personally, even though I don't make that kind of content? I need to count this. 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because slowly I've been noticing there's been a shift in people and the comments or the content that they've been creating. As someone who lives in Brunei in Southeast Asia that doesn't have a huge crafting or knitting community, a lot of the news that I hear is from Instagram or YouTube, sometimes TikTok, but I don't get a lot of craft channels or accounts on my TikTok, so I don't hear it often. But one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people are angrier. I see a lot more comments being frustrated and angry, and for good reason. Most of the time, it's for very good reason. I need to say that. But I also notice that my mood shifts based on it, and that I can feel myself also getting angrier and more frustrated. And I don't think that's particularly healthy for me at the stage I am in now. I've struggled with depression and a lot more things that I don't really want to get into right now, but that was something that affected me throughout my very early 20s, my late teens, early 20s. And the way that it has impacted me back then was also because I was in a space that was very critical of basically everything. And I had to reevaluate why I was in that space to begin with. It's good to critique and be able to criticize things and analyze and really think about things to a healthy degree in moderation. But I also think now it's important to moderate your own thoughts and your own feelings and to be able to think of things in a way that's just as it is. I'm not saying don't leave angry comments, especially if it's something you're passionate about, I think this is more of a personal observation on how it affects my mental health and my own well-being. And for that reason, I also haven't been on Instagram, I'll be honest, specifically my knitting Instagram, which I feel bad for because I do like knitting content. I love watching the reels. I think they're so funny. But I also know myself too well that comparison will breed a lot of envy. And I don't want to do that, not only to me, but to the people that I'm comparing myself to. Because these people are probably really great. They're really amazing people. I just don't want to do that to myself. And I'm trying to find a balance between enjoying these social media apps and even YouTube, understanding people's thoughts and opinions, and not comparing all of that whole thing, to myself and who I am as a being. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all will feel things and react to things the way that our personalities shape us to. I know when I was younger, I was really mad at the world and how can there be so much injustice and anger and horrible people. And then I took a step back and then I asked, what can I do about it? And the correct answer is, I don't have an answer. I don't. But I always want to focus on the strength of women, the strength of people during hard times. It's not about looking at things in a positive light and being too optimistic. It's trying to see the good even when the world is on fire. It makes me worry sometimes about being too naively optimistic, but at the same time, I think being absurdly pessimistic is also not a good thing. I'm trying to see that balance for myself, for my own betterment, and hopefully for yours too. I want to go back into knitting, not just in terms of like content, but like my actual hobby, finding time and space to knit and make things that I actually like and that I actually want to knit. I'm not making as many clothes right now because for one thing, I don't have the space. Maybe I'll start making more accessories. But right now, that's probably not something I'm looking forward to, and that's okay. There's going to be slow periods of your life, and right now I have to prioritize other things. And with knitting, I know that it's always going to be a very fun hobby for me. And if I turn it into business, that's another thing. Or if I focus on my other career, that's also another thing. I don't want to stress myself out and think about so many paths that I could take. I don't know what's the point of this video. I think I just wanted to let so many things out, and I feel a lot lighter, so thank you for that. I don't know if you feel the same way. If you do, then let me know. More than anything else, I just want people to know they're not alone, and that your voice matters, your opinion matters, but so do victims. So are the people's voices that are being hurt and affected. The world is such a complicated place right now, and a knitting channel on YouTube does not have the answers. I'm going to tell you that right now. And sometimes it feels very scary, but I want to focus on the things that make me feel good, which is 1, knitting, because I like knitting. I like knitting a lot. 2, actually cultivating a space that wants me. Because one of the reasons why I'm also not on Instagram is because I find out a lot of people that I follow do not support people like me, which are visibly not white and Muslim. And that's okay, I guess. I'll continue to support the people I support. And I think this is a very difficult topic for someone like me who is not in the US, who is not in Canada or the Western Northern Hemisphere. I'm just here as a bystander watching it, and it makes me feel so strange. But if you do have a voice and you're there, continue to use it. Where am I going with this video? I have no idea. This is a knit and chat, and yet I am yapping about so many things. My brain is not computing, but maybe that's a fun thing. Maybe that's good. Maybe I need to let out this frustration into a stream of consciousness a la Virginia Woolf style. Speaking of stream of consciousness, I started getting into Substack. So to avoid TikTok and Twitter, or X now, I'm not going to call it X, Twitter and Instagram, I've started using Substack, and I've also written some pieces, and I'm really happy that I finally have a space to put my writing in. I am thinking of doing things that make me happy, like knitting, like writing, and also in helping communities. I'm working on a storytelling workshop with a friend of mine who I've known for almost 10 years now, which is crazy because he's 10 years older than me. But he's a comedian, I'm a writer, I do a lot of poetry and like novels and prose, and he's a very good comedian. And so my NGO, the Brunei Writers, and Brouhaha, which is the comedy show in Brunei, we're merging to create a storytelling workshop and hopefully a show after. So if you've ever heard of The Moth, which is a storytelling show, it's kind of like that. It's been inspired by them. So think of it as a comedy stand-up night, but less funny and sometimes a little bit more sad. Those are the things that keep me going. Helping communities, seeing people in real life, doing things that I love, getting back into my physical health. Even though my legs are sore every single day, it does genuinely help with my mood and helps regulate it. I think that's all from me, because if I start talking about other stuff, I might go absolutely wild. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this Knit and Chat, and if you are affected by any of this, I am so sorry. If you are struggling with your mental health, I will leave resources in the description below for the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and Brunei. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye!